So the whole moon thing. I'm pretty sure the full moon is tomorrow. And I've been using the moon as a method to both gauge what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, but then also realizing that I don't know what I'm doing. And that's the best part. What does any of this mean, and why should you care? Okay. Well, very simply, I started on the new moon, this whole adventure of, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just doing something repetitively. Basically, realizing that the full moon being tomorrow is unique because I get to release whatever it is that I've built up until this point. And why that matters and why I guess it's important is because it's 14 days. 14 days. So I don't know what's going to happen. I will tell you this though, is that over the past 2 days, it's been rather interesting doing the repetitiveness. And the Super Bowl happened on Sunday. Today would be Tuesday. Last night, Monday, I voluntarily chose to start the gears going again. For whatever reason, it just wasn't shallots. Anyways, I was at the grocery store. Remember, gotta get shallots. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know what it's gonna do or offer me, but what I'm coming to this point here for is, yesterday I was watching a video about the art of storytelling in Severance, and a real chord was struck, and it resonated with me in the way that I get the peace of hearing a giant bell ring. It was that kind of just, and the message of the gentleman's video was, more often than not, the character plots develop where there is a shoestring that interweaves itself for complexity. But in Severance, we're unraveling the plot the more forward in time we go. So each character, you learn more about them, but we're straightening the string the entire time. And I realized that guy had summed up metaphysics, religion, psychology, spirituality, in all these other things in one video, in one 5-second clip. This guy unlocked something in me that I don't even know if he knew he was supposed to be doing. And what any of this means is that in Severance, the reason why people find it so compelling is that those same people who are drawn to Severance are the same people who somehow live a portion of their life consciously. To what extent? No, that's completely subjective. But objectively, I would say that those people who are drawn to Severance have a soul, one. Number two, are learning or are choosing to take the time to learn about themselves and their soul. And the reason I look at that and say that that's true is because that's what resonates with me. Whether people are going to articulate it or not is completely irrelevant. Because just in the same way that astrology and the stars and the true sky sidereal has always been right in my life without me ever knowing about it is just in the same way that Jason from Archaics was saying that the right man making use of the wrong means will eventually still be a right man making use of the right means. Because it has to do with this. And so what any of this means is that Severance is compelling because it's literally our lives. And in the comment section, it's basically a bunch of people saying that yes, Severance is akin to the Matrix, akin to Star Wars, and I've put it akin to Dune. Because we all chose to be here. We don't know how we got here. But we chose to be alive, to be here at this specific moment in time. Just the same way that Mark S. got severed. Just the same way that Luke Skywalker decided to be a Jedi. Did he decide to be born to Anakin? To Padme? Just in the same way that Paul Atreides. Did he decide to learn the ways of the Bene Gesserit? Did he ever decide to go figure out what sand power was? Mark S. Did he ever go have a literal spiritual awakening as the innie and as the outie at 2 different times, which is really the same time? And so the reason why it's so compelling is because if people could take the time to do what is happening in Severance in their own lives, I resonate with Severance because everything that's happening in that movie or in that show is what I'm doing with my own life. And so the reason why I started talking about the full moon and then I segued my way to Severance, and now I'm going to finish up by wrapping up by talking about the moon because I'm about to go pick up my shallots, is because when you have put in the work as the moon is accumulating its light, the second you get to the full moon, you can release what is now been repetitively, redundantly done. And so how any of this connects to any of the middle part of what I just said is that there's 2 things. So for example, in Severance, when they wake up as the innie, it's because the outie showed up. The only way that Paul was able to fully take in or be respected, the only way that Paul was able to be respected by the people of Arrakis is because he had to put aside his own ego and look at the now and look at where he was in order to wholeheartedly be Sandman. Just the same way that Luke had to forego his own last name. He had to forego the people that he was raised by so that he could ultimately become himself. And just like the moon, it's added all of this light so that it could become itself. And then it's about to shed all of the light in order to become itself again. And Luke, the way he shows up is by honoring his convictions, just like Paul does, just like Mark S. does. The convictions they have in the now. And so the reason why the moon, working with the moon, is unique and different is because it's measurable. And it always is reliable. It's repeatable. It's dependable. So for the first beginning, probably 7 days, it was like boom, 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 post. And now I'm reaping the benefits of all that shows up because of that repetitiveness. And life is so much easier. It is so free-flowing. That you also get to sit there and essentially say, I know that I put in the work, taking action towards a higher good, so I'm worthy of having that thing or that experience. And that is something that I guess at one point in my life was something maybe I wasn't tuned into. And again, I'm wrapping my head around everything I just said because how does the moon get to choose that path? And how does the moon get to choose whether it's full of light or empty of the light? How does the moon get to choose, or how does the sun get to choose to always just shine? And see, I don't know, because Mark S., the innie, how does, like, did he just show up? Oh, so right now you're where my backup camera is, and I got to use the manual, yes, analog version of backing up, so that, okay. I appreciate you being witness to this thought process, because I've learned recently from this guy named Ken, this whole redundancy thing. The more I do this, it has to be one take and it has to be raw every time. The more I do this and the more that I'm able to let my brain do what it does, which is also something that is relative to me, I haven't really seen. I mean, I see it on YouTube. I see it with, I just remembered, I gotta make the calendar. So basically what any of this means is by using astrology, which is Dr. Danny, and then taking into consideration Mr. Archaics and Ken, and Brian, I basically have built my starting five for figuring out if there was something I could bundle for a younger version of myself. It'd be like, witness these people be themselves. That's what I would do. Okay, I gotta go get my shallots. But take care. All the best.